So UFC London is this weekend. Mostar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy, and I'm going to break down the whole card. Starting off the list, Melissa Mullins versus Luana Carolina. I'm going to go with Melissa Mullins on this one. Why exactly? I just think she's a little bit better of the fighters. She didn't get knocked out by Molly McCann, which is not the best look. So yeah, plus Melissa Mullins did beat Segula, which is a very good win when it comes to the unranked level of WMMA. So, and also I just think she's a little bit better, kinda, not really that by that much. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to add other than I just think she's a slightly better fighter and will win this fight by decision. But I could be wrong, I could be wrong, but I'm going to pick Melissa Mullins winning this fight by decision. So now moving on to the next one. Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. I'm going to go with Chanel Dyer on this one. Why exactly? I just think she's the better fighter of the two. Not even that reason alone. She's cleaner. She's better on the feet. Well, that's technically the better fighter, but you get what I'm trying to say here. She's just a little bit better everywhere. She plays the game on the back foot way better than Oliveira does, because Oliveira does play the kind of the same game plan as well, but she's not as good as Chanel Dyer. So I'm going to go Chanel Dyer winning this fight by decision. I could see a finish, but I also worry about the grappling as well, but yeah, I'm still going to go decision Dyer. I think she's going to be a little bit too clean on the feet. She might get taken down, but I think she'll keep it mostly on the feet and win a decision victory here. So now moving on to the next one. Shamrock versus Abdul Karim. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name because that would be a tongue twister for me. You see, even that word was too much for me. So I'm going to stick with Abdul Karim. But I'm going to pick Shamrock to beat Abdul Karim because Abdul Karim, they're both about the same level to me. But Abdul Karim is not as active. I don't even think Shamrock is all that really, because you can break him. You can push forward and break him. And I thought Abdul Karim could do that. But Abdul Karim hasn't fought since 2024. And if you're not going to be active, I'm not going to confidently pick you against somebody that's just fought recently. And then again, he got KO'd. I'm still going to go with Shamrock because I think the grappling might be a little bit too much and he's slightly better. So I'm going to go second round submission, but I could see a decision victory here for Shamrock. Look okay, maybe make a comeback victory or something, and people probably will glaze him for a bit and then he'll get KO'd in his next fight or something like that. But I'm going to go Shamrock winning a submission victory here. I just think he's a little bit better of a fighter. So now moving on to the next one. Luis Sutherland versus Brando Pericic. I'm going to go with Brando Pericic on this one. Why exactly? Just look at the both of them. One is athletic, the other one is not. I know Derek Lewis is in the heavyweight division and he is one of the exceptions to the rule, but I don't think Luis Sutherland is in that exception. I heard he was pretty decent at one point before he went to the UFC, but he is looking kind of fat now. So I'm not going to pick somebody that's kind of out of shape and probably would gas. And at least I could trust with Brando Pericic to be a little bit more athletic and be a little bit faster on the feet. So I'm going to go Brandon Pericic KOing Luis Sutherland in the first two rounds. So that's pretty much it. Now moving on to the next one. Montes Contreras-Avicius. I don't even think I said that name right, but versus Antonio Tacorli. I'm going to go with Montes on this one because, I don't know, I just think Montes is just better fighter overall because Antonio Tacorli is just kind of known for dating Mackenzie Dern at one point and getting sparked up by Cheryl Bullet, which, by the way, is not the best look. Getting sparked up by Cheryl Bullet is crazy. Because Cheryl Bullet does not have crazy power like that, and you getting sparked out by him is kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie to you. He has nothing on the feet either. He has decent grappling, but he can't get it to the ground. So I'm gonna go with Montes sparking out to Corley in the first two rounds. I feel like everybody kind of has that take, but I'm gonna go with Montes sparking him out in the first two rounds. So now moving on to the next one. Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco. I'm gonna go with Mario Pinto on this one. Not very confident because I don't really think Mario Pinto is that great, but Felipe Franco, I can't even name 4 opponents he has fought. And they don't even have good records, number one. So it's kind of hard for me to say he's going to be Mario Pinto when Mario Pinto has been in the UFC. Be okay, guys. Like, Austin Lane isn't really the best one, but he at least sparked him out cold. Then again, who doesn't spark out Austin Lane? But Mario Pinto put him out cold. He also put somebody else out cold. I forgot the dude's name. I think he got finished by Tyboro, if I'm not mistaken. But he's pretty decent, Mario Pinto. And I just think he's going to be a little bit better on the feet. Plus, Felipe Franco, the last clip I seen of him, he ragdolled a heavyweight and he was a fatty. So it's kind of hard for me to say that he's going to do the same to Mario Pinto, where Mario Pinto, you can see he's not really a fatty. He's kind of athletic, not really that crazy though, but I just think he'll be a little bit better on the feet and will KO Felipe Franco in the first two rounds. I feel like Felipe Franco is not really going to be used to somebody that's also athletic, you know? That's kind of how I see the fight, so I'm going to go with Mario Pinto putting out Felipe Franco in the first two rounds. So now moving on to the next one. Nathaniel Wood versus Lawson Keita. I'm going to go with Keita on this one. I was trying to be a little crafty and go with Nathaniel Wood. It's just the problem is he is kind of small and he's also not chinny, but I just feel like Keita is a little bit too explosive, pause, and is able to like pounce on Nathaniel Wood. Also another pause to finish him early. So that's why I'm not going to go with Nathaniel Wood. I am too worried that he would get chinned early. If it does go to the later rounds, I do kind of favor Nathaniel Wood in a bit, but I will still go Keita. So I'm going to go Keita knocking out Nathaniel Wood in the first 2 rounds. So it's kind of tricky for Nathaniel Wood here, but I'm going to be rooting for him though. But I got Keita knocking him out in the first 2 rounds. So now moving on to the next one. Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. I'm going to go with Mason Jones on this one. I am a little worried. I'm not going to lie to you because he is there to be chinned, especially when it comes to counters. And Sola does go on the back foot and he could counter Mason Jones. However though, I feel like Mason Jones could break him in the later round. I do think Mason Jones is going to get dropped in this fight, especially in the first round. However, though, I feel he's going to survive a storm, come back in round 2, and finish him by ground and pound finish here. I think that's what's going to happen. I could see a submission as well, but I'm going to go TKO finish over Axel Sola. So Mason Jones, second round finish. Could be TKO. I'm going to go TKO, but it could also be a submission victory here. So now moving on to the next one. Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. I'm going to go with Curtis Campbell on this one. I am a bit worried because Danny Silva did look okay against Kevin Vallejos. I feel like he gets a little bit too much glaze from that performance because he didn't really throw much and didn't really do anything in the fight. But he survived Kevin Vallejos, which is impressive, but he didn't really do a lot on the feed. To me, what I seen when I saw the fight. But it's been a while since I watched it back. Maybe I'm wrong there, but he is decent. He's a decent fighter, but I just feel like Curtis Campbell is a little bit better. I feel like he's a little bit better on the feet, can grapple some, and I don't know, I just think he's a really good, well-balanced fighter. I just think he will be Danny Silva in this matchup. I feel like he probably would finish him in the second round. The only thing that worries me is Curtis Campbell does look a little chinny. He does look like a frail boy, so that could happen because the UK fighters, I'm not gonna lie to you, they're not the best when it comes to their prospects. They're kind of hit or miss. They're either really good or really ass. There's no in between when they're good or bad or not. It really isn't. It's literally you're good or you're terrible. And I hope Curtis Campbell is one of the good ones. So I'm going to go Curtis Campbell finishing him in the second round or a decision victory here. So now moving on to the next one. Roman Dolidze versus Chris Leroy Duncan. I'm going to go with Chris Leroy Duncan on this one. I just think he's the better fighter of the two. It's very clear. He's a way better striker. Grappling's a little iffy, but I think it's good enough to not be taken down by Roman Dolidze because Roman Dolidze, he doesn't have the craziest takedown offense, but it's okay, you know, like unless you're like a feral boy like Kevin Holland, you're not going to be taken down by Roman Dolidze like that. Like if you're kind of stocky, decently sized middleweight, you're not going to really be taken down. That's not really his game. It's mostly like if it hits the ground, oh, Roman Dolidze, man, it might be a little tricky. That's more of Roman Dolidze's game and a big overhand. Other than that, he's nothing really on the feet either. So I'm just saying, I feel like Chris Duncan has more things on the feet. I would go finish though, but I'm a little worrisome because it's kind of hard to finish Roman Dolidze on the feet. Like you can say whatever you want about Roman Dolidze, he might be trash on the feet, nothing really special, but like he does have a chin and not a lot of people are just knocking him down, you know. I do think Chris Duncan will knock him down, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to finish him. But yeah, I'm going to go Chris Leroy Duncan winning a decision victory here. I could see a finish, but I don't know. It's a little too risky for me. So I'm going to go Chris Leroy Duncan winning a decision victory here. So now moving on to the next one. Iwo Bariuski versus Austin Lane. I got Iwo on this one. You kind of know why. Austin Lane's kind of chinny, coming down from heavyweight. Heavyweights are not the best skilled. I know he got KO'd by heavyweights, but being KO'd by heavyweights doesn't really mean a lot because if you're getting KO'd by heavyweights, they're kind of plod machines. He was even getting chinned by the plasters themselves, so it's kind of hard for me to say that he's going to be Iwo when he's a little bit more athletic, probably a better chin as well, and if it gets to a brawl, Iwo's going to put him out cold. That's how I think the fight's going to go. I feel like Iwo is going to put Austin Lane out cold in the first round. It's going to get scrappy a bit, and then Iwo's going to put him out cold. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now moving on to the next one. MVP versus Sam Patterson. I don't understand why people are picking Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson is pretty decent, but he doesn't move his head. And I feel like the 1-2 is open all day for him. And MVP could get a finish here. I don't know if he's going to finish Sam Patterson because every time I pick MVP by finish, he doesn't get the finish. So I don't know. I'm going to go MVP, but it's going to be like by decision and maybe kind of like, no, I think he's going to kind of school Sam Patterson here. I understand the grappling threat from Sam Patterson. Patterson, but it's just, for me, he doesn't have the craziest takedown offense, but he does have good submissions. So maybe in another world I would have picked Sam Patterson, but he's not that big of an underdog for me to be like, okay, I should pick Sam Patterson here. But yeah, I'm going to go MVP, either knocking him out in the second round or getting a decision victory here. I'm going to go decision victory over Sam Patterson. So moving on to the next one. Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell. I'm going to go with Luke Riley on here. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't seen a lot of tape of Michael Aswell. I've seen some highlights, and I didn't really see anything that crazy. So I'm going to go Luke Riley, finish him in the first 2 rounds. Unless he's a world beater and it was a mistake to miss some tape on him. I don't know. Michael Aswell, just looking at him, doesn't look that crazy. So I'm going to go Luke Riley, finishing him in the first 2 rounds. So now moving on to the next one. Monster Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. I'm not going to lie to you. I am worried for Monster a little bit. Just a little bit. Because Lerone Murphy does have good get-up games, but it's just the problem is, can he keep that up? And I don't think he will. I am worried on the fee a bit because Lerone could maybe hurt Monster to the body, something like that, because Allen did hurt him to the body. So I don't know, it's a little worrisome, but I'm gonna go with Monster to win a decision victory here. I could see it being tricky the first 2 rounds. I give Lerone Murphy like a 30% chance of being Monster, but I'm gonna go Monster Evloev being Lerone Murphy. I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded, able to keep it on the ground, and even on the feet I don't feel like he's that lost. So I'm gonna go Monster Evloev winning a decision victory here. That's pretty much the whole video. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it, and talk to you guys later. God bless all of you, and that's it.